gospel, light of the temple. Sword swing, killer live from the ghetto. The hood messenger, let them know hell's close. Black burial, the devil in a black cloak.
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. I'm your host, Dave One, and this is episode number... Yo, Camo, what episode is this? 119. 119. Yo, everybody, listen. Go out there, make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. And if you like this podcast, send it to somebody. I appreciate that. I was where was I at the other day? Oh, I went to two places this past weekend. I saw this old training partner that I haven't seen from a while. My old jiu-jitsu buddy ran into him at the movies. He's like, hey, man, I listened to your podcast. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I found it, and I just listen to it all the time. I'm like, dude, dope. I was at Starbucks Sunday morning before church. Dude goes, what's up, Dave? I turn around with my friend Carlos. Haven't seen him in like 3 or 4 years. He goes, I listen to your podcast. So pretty dope when that happens. I love it. So if you're out there, make sure you subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And if you like the podcast, send it to somebody. Episode number 118, Cam. Episode number 118 was wild. If you haven't seen episode 118, go back, watch the episode with Ruben Palomares. I don't know how else to explain it. Well, I do know how to explain it. The dude is like real life Training Day. If you saw the movie Training Day, this dude is, a crazy story. So if you haven't watched that podcast, catch up, go watch it, and then watch this one. All right. But today we have a guest, man. Definitely was a recommendation from a guest that came through. I think Josiah came through like twice. Josiah O'Neal came through twice. Talked on the podcast, a solid dude, but he recommended his tattoo artist. This guy is a traditional tattoo artist. Above anything else, he's a believer. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a businessman, an artist. He just does it all. And when you look at him right now, you're going to realize that, oh, man, he's a Raider fan. And you know, I always say this. I never met a Raider fan I didn't like. So I want to welcome to the show Derek Billingsley.
Thank you guys for having me.
What's cracking, man?
Not much, man. Just another day. Just got off work and shot over here real quick to hang out with you guys for a little bit.
Dope, man. What'd you do today?
I was working on a commission painting that I got to get done by the middle to end of the month for a client that's flying in to get tattooed. So I was like, all right, let me get a head start on this since I had the opportunity, since I knew I had to be out a little bit early to come here. So, yeah, I just started working on that. It's it's a pretty cool till death piece. It's like a cross with like reapers and stuff, so it should be pretty cool. The guy should be pretty excited. So
now you're all traditional.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all I do. Not that I won't. I mean, I started in tattooing when whatever walked in the door, you did. Yeah, full sleeves, a tribal. I used to do black and gray portrait, do everything. Dope. Like, you want to make money, you got to pay your bills. You tattooed walked in the door, and then just through years of traveling and getting exposed to other artists and myself getting out there, I'm now to the point where I pretty much only tattoo what I do, which is a blessing, obviously.
What was it about traditional that you were that was your thing?
Growing up, man, I was like 8 years old, started wanting to tattoo. My dad's got tattoos, biker dudes, so I grew up seeing tattoos. And you think of what, Popeyes, little anchors, little roses, skull. Like, when you think of a tattoo, I think of is traditional eagles and skulls and all the classic motifs. And I've always been someone that really appreciates the history of most things. So if I'm going to be into tattooing, I want to kind of hold true to certain values within that.
Yeah, tattooing is still, it still has those traditional values.
Yeah.
Have they like waned a little bit?
Of course.
I know there's certain, if you're an apprentice, there's certain things you got to go through. Yeah. There's certain ways to tattoo. There's certain things you follow by. There's certain rules.
For sure.
Have those waned a little bit, maybe since you started tattooing?
Yeah, of course. There's like a derogatory term in the industry of gatekeeping. Yeah. That people in my opinion, did a very bad job of. They should have gatekept a little bit more, because stuff like Miami Ink and LA Ink and all these shows, yes, they did good in a certain way that a lot of people wanted to start getting tattooed, but at the same time, it kind of put a spotlight on the industry as far as what money can be made, all this stuff. And then with the invention of like YouTube and these things, people no longer had to go through the traditional apprenticeship route to earn that right to then tattoo. They could just pick up a set of machines and a kit and watch videos on YouTube and learn how to tattoo. So in a way, it's kind of watered down the industry in that aspect. But in other ways, I mean, I still use coil machines. I do have a couple rotaries here and there, but I really try to hone in on the original stuff within reason. I'm not going to do something that just because this is what they used, I'm going to use to then be a detriment to my tattoo quality. I'm not going to do that, obviously. But
what's the main value in doing it the old school way? What would you say is the main thing about that? I mean, because you could probably, I mean, that's funny because we all get to a point where we all go, well, back in my day, and we don't really want to sound like that. It sounds awful, but there is some good stuff back in my day. Like when I think about like, when I say that, or when I tell my son that, I'm like, back in my day, we play outside all day till it got dark. And then we came in. The kids nowadays, they don't play. He always says he was the last generation to play outside for sure. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. And without sounding old, but everything, back in my day, music was better. Back in my day, of course, there is some truth behind it a little bit because of technology or because, like you said, the internet, things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I feel like there's just such a strength in the recognizability that is traditional tattoos. I mean, dude, it's been cool. At least the people I look at, 1880s to the 1950s. That's really the genre of traditional tattooing that I truly enjoy. And most of those artists are not American. Most of those were in England or other European countries for the most part. But there's just such a strength and recognizability, and the simplicity of it will, for one, show you whether you have chops at tattooing or not.
Right.
If you cannot tattoo solid and you do a traditional tattoo, it will expose every flaw that you have, right? So there's no hiding things, which I like. I really like the straightforwardness of it. I'm a straightforward dude. I am blatantly honest with people for good or bad, for better or worse. I want the best for the client, in turn giving them the best quality product I can give them. So I identify with the straightforwardness that is traditional, and then I don't know. It's just like, why is a peanut butter and jelly sandwich so good, right? Why is spaghetti and meat? It's just simple. It's straightforward. Yeah. It's tried and true. It's battle tested. I just have always been drawn to it. I guess for a lot of reasons, really.
Yeah, it seems like of all the genres, traditional was in the beginning. Yeah, it's still going to this day.
For sure.
I mean, if you look at anybody that's done tattoos, I mean, they'll always point to, the founders, and you look at their early stuff, and it even if it's a little bit different, it's still based on traditional.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's the one style that was developed for tattooing. Every other style was starting somewhere else. Like, I love black and gray tattoos, right? But a lot of that was just art and like stuff that they would do inside the pen or whatever, and it was really cool stuff. And then they figured out how to all right, I can transition that into tattooing. This style was built specifically to tattoo, which I think is super cool. Yeah, same thing with Japanese traditional, same way.
Right, exactly.
Very similar in that aspect.
I think you're right about that. That's definitely a good point. I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, it was created for tattoos. Yeah, and it wasn't like art created into tattoos,
which seems to be a big trend right now. Is everyone it's like, oh, it doesn't even look like a tattoo, and for me, I'm like, I don't like that. I love oil realism paintings for what they are, and I think they're beautiful and they should stay in that lane. Just like I think, tattoos should stay. I'm not a big fan of the traditional tattoo T-shirts and stuff like that.
It's not your thing.
So many people do it. Yeah. It just becomes corny after a while, and I think it should stay in the lane that it should have been in. But that's to each their own, really.
Yeah, a lot of the market, I think a lot of that too is it gets slow.
Yeah,
let's create some shirts that
you're
an
artist.
Sell,
make some money.
I got to do something. Let me make this shirt, and try to make some money off of it.
Yeah, I get that, and I'd be lying if I say I haven't sold shirts. You know what I mean? But it's just, I think it's when it gets out of the lane of like the artist doing it, and it becomes just some person who's not even a tattooer that then is replicating tattoo art and then making money off of it. It feels different in that aspect, but I mean, everyone's got their own hustle, so it is what it is, and you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right? It's already out. People are already doing it, so it's all good.
It changes a lot.
It does.
Do you take on apprentices?
I have never taken on an apprentice.
Really?
Yeah. So
no patience.
No, not at all. I am very much of the belief that someone needs to kind of present themselves in a way that I'm like, dude, the industry cannot not have this kid tattoo, right? I need to see he's a painting or he's got a intuition about learning or whatever it may be. I've just never seen that.
Wow.
I've been hit up a bunch of times throughout my career, but it's always, in my eyes, the wrong way. They want to hit me up through Instagram, through DM, and it's like, man, if you think that's how you're going to get into this industry I've devoted my entire life to, we're not even in the same ballpark of reality at this point. So I just kindly keep it moving, you know. And I've also looked at it as well, at least how I was brought into it. It's, you kind of need to be the owner of the shop to apprentice somebody. And for many years, I just traveled tattooing, and that's part of the pirate lifestyle that kind of drew me to tattooing as well. And I just was like, well, how am I going to have an apprentice if I'm traveling all the time or this or that? Or for plenty of years, you feel like you're not even worthy to teach somebody. At least me, I'm very much my harshest critic. And I'm like, I don't want to. I'm still learning, you know? Yeah. What am I going to teach you if I'm still learning?
Yeah.
Which we're all still learning, obviously, every day.
Right.
But yeah,
is there new techniques that you learn, or when you say you're still learning, is there things like do you meet an old artist and you're like, wow, you're looking at what he's doing, or what is it?
Yeah, I think at this point it's not necessarily the technique. I feel like the application process is there. I've been tattooing 18 years now. So I think the application is kind of second nature at this point. There are obviously trouble areas that are a little more difficult that you gotta hone in on a little bit more, but the technique is, I feel like that's there, but I think it's composition, it's layout, it's there's just different ways to do things. Even as far as how I lay you down to tattoo a certain area, like, oh, so and so did it like that because it made it this much easier to stretch or whatever.
Yeah,
those are the things I think that I find very much a lot of value in.
Some fine tuning stuff.
Yeah, it's more like little tricks and little things that like you're not just gonna learn from seeing a post on Instagram.
Yeah. Where you said you started and knew you wanted to be an artist early.
Yeah. How
did that start off?
Well, just like any kid, right? We're taught to be musicians. We have music class in school. We're taught to be artists. We draw, paint. That's things that are facilitated as a kid, and it's just like with everything. Like the kids that have the passion for it continue to do it. You know, the kids that start with the little the recorder, the little thing you play in the and then they go on to play guitar and play all these other instruments. They just caught the bug early and they had the passion for it. So I was that way with just specifically drawing, and then I was always doodling, drawing, and my grandma, actually, she was a painter. She did like oil and like acrylic painting, more like landscaping stuff. So like outdoor like houses and scenery and stuff like that. I feel like was kind of common back in the day with older people. They a lot of them would have some sort of craft that they would do. So that was always an influence. You know, her telling me, hey, make sure you bring a drawing over so that way I can put it on the fridge, this, that, the third. So I was always interested in it. And then this is back when, man, there was nothing on TV, really. Every now and then you would go through the TV guide. Remember the scroll? Show you all the channels and the times and everything. And it was always on, like, National Geographic, and it was always about, like, poly tattoos, like Polynesian tattoos, or every now and then you'd come across maybe some, like, Japanese-style tattooing stuff. And then I would set the VCR up, and I would make sure I would record whatever that was at the time. And I remember watching those tapes all the time, you know, like, just from a young age. And then I think I was maybe 11 or 12. We, as a family, we went to Hawaii, and it was like a family-friendly like resort. I've got an older sister; she's 5 years older than me. So my parents would kind of be doing their thing. They'd give us, I don't know, $20 a piece or whatever it was. Here, you guys have fun for the day. We'll meet up with you guys a little bit later. Cool. My sister was kind of tasked with keeping an eye on me, right? So we're roaming the resort, and the next thing you know, I find there's a Polynesian Cultural Center on our resort. And I'm like, okay, let's check it out. And then next thing you know, there's henna tattoos there, and I'm like, oh yeah, all about it. Like I remember being a little kid, and my mom would run errands with me, and she'd be like, all right, if you're good at the end of the trip, we'll get you some temporary tattoos. So we'd stop at Sally's Beauty Supply, and I was a little kid, and I'd be on my best behavior, just buttoned up all day, right? And then we'd get there, and I'd get a little pack of fake tattoos. But yeah, at the Polynesian Culture Center, I ended up figuring out, I can just spend this $20 each day, get a tattoo. And so there's a photo of my, I think my sister maybe have it. Somebody in my family has it, but it's like a old school photo you had to get developed, and it's me sitting there smiling, getting a whole leg full of henna Polynesian tattoos. I was like 11, but ever since I was just hooked. Like,
and you mentioned earlier, I think before we started, you said your dad had tattoos. So that was
my dad was
right
riding Harleys and bike and tattoos and stuff, and it was never not okay. My dad was the only guy who had tattoos in my family, but my parents were very much like, my dad's a blue collar dude, done every job. We owned a landscaping company for many years doing sprinkler systems, so I would dig ditches and do all that with him. But my mom was an accountant, very buttoned up, for a tech company.
So the business,
polar opposites.
Oh, I was gonna say, so the business made money.
Yeah, for
making sure you guys were on
because
your
she was
P's and
doing the
Q's.
books. Yeah, so, but yeah, it just like it was always. They were very much in support of my dreams. I think I was 16 maybe for Christmas. They had bought me a tattoo kit with some like fake skin, or like, here, you could, practice on this, that's the third. I'm like, all right, cool. First chance, they were always going on motorcycle trips. First chance I got, I started hitting up the homies, tattooing them. Dude, I didn't even know you had to put rubber bands on your machine. I didn't know, like, you start out with a lighter color Sharpie, build up your sketch on the skin or whatever, because I didn't have a thermofax. I had no way to make a stencil. I didn't know. You just draw it right on the skin as a tattoo. And, dude, I was just destroying the homies. I'm like, I need to put this away for a while. But
that's pretty dope, because when you think about it, most parents are like, let me buy my son a computer so he can do something. Let me send him to school so he can go maybe learn a trade. For
sure.
But it's a little bit for an accountant and a business owner.
And at that time, it was very much out of the box.
Yeah,
it wasn't like
to say, hey, here you go, 16 years old. It wasn't like you were 18 and said, hey, I'm going to do this no matter what.
Right.
They're saying, like, if you like that, cool. Did they see something in you
they must have, or I had just beaten them down since I was 8 years old, talking about wanting to do it. So they're like, obviously, this is not a fad. Obviously, I had drawn my whole childhood to where it was like, he's obviously passionate about this. But it also, at the same time, it was the other side of me, the dual side of me, because the other side was avid football player, getting recruited, going to combines, doing all that.
Wow.
So when that dream kind of faded out, it was like, all right, cool, full force tattooing. I'd already started apprenticing. So it just made sense to like, all right, cool, like, let's pivot from there, and just, this is 100% what I'll be doing.
Yeah, that's I think that's dope, because I think sometimes parents, you really have to find your kid's passion.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't really, might not agree with it 100%,
right.
but they're going to go down that road.
Yeah.
What can I do to, kind of fuel this passion?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure you weren't the most perfect kid, so you got to kind of give that kid something to really say, hey, if it's not sports or or the books, then let's try to find something else that he can get involved with.
100%. Yeah, I think it's super important. Like, and that's the problem with some kids you encounter, right? It's like they don't seem to be passionate about anything, and it's like, I feel blessed that I've been passionate full force about everything I've ever been into, that no matter what I wanted to do, I would do my absolute best and be uber competitive with myself. And so I think that's where you get where you're at in your career or in life, really.
Yeah, I think when I've talked to tattoo artists, or when you hear tattoo art stories, I know there is a big difference, but it seems like tattoo artists have this taboo thing that they came from maybe a broken home, or straight from the streets, or everything was always bad, or they might look at you and like, this guy had a rough life. I don't know, maybe you have, but it seems like you had a pretty decent life and a good jump start from your parents to kind of push you in the right direction.
Yeah, I would say for sure. I mean, I think the biggest blessing is having moms and dads in your house, right?
Yeah.
Whether they're not perfect or whatever is going on. My mom, not a bad word I could ever say about my mom. She passed away in 2023. So she was really the glue of the family. I've had a gnarly relationship with my dad. My dad was into drinking and has been very much a new term that I've learned. He's been very much a narcissist my whole life. And
it's a trip when you find out what that word means. And when you find out what that word means and you go,
oh, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. So Yeah. So from an early age, I figured out like, all right, drinking's not for me. My mentor was drinking a lot. My dad, growing up. So I mean, I think since high school, I just never drank. I don't smoke. I won't even eat food that was cooked with alcohol, just out of a principle type of thing. But I think that's just because the household I grew up in, it was like, oh, I don't want to be anything like that dude. You know what I mean? Like, without getting too deep in the weeds with that guy, like, it just doesn't work.
You guys still clash?
Yeah, yeah. So after my mom passed, I'd always fly my mom out for Christmas, fly her out from time to time. My sister lives out there. They all live in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And so I would fly them out, or they would road trip out, whichever one. And when my mom passed, my sister kind of gave me the idea, and it made sense, and I agreed totally, to try to put, like, what's happened in the past, and would my mom want my dad, and my dad's in a wheelchair now, would she want him alone in Oklahoma for Christmas? And we both knew the answer. For better or worse, my mom loves unconditionally, and she would want us to look after my dad. Cool. So I invite him out, let him come out to Rancho for Christmas. And first year, I have my sister staying in the house. My dad got hurt at work, didn't say nothing, kept working. From what they can kind of put together, he ended up getting cervical stenosis, so the casing around his spine basically had been pinching his spine for so long that he had spinal surgery. They cut him open from the front of his neck, and at that point, all the nerves were dead. The whole left side of his body just doesn't work. So for him, flying's out of the picture. He has a wheelchair van, and so for him, the only way he'll travel, be able to do anything, is he'll drive. So my sister's like, all right, I'll road trip with him. So I get him set up and doing all that. Well, him and my sister definitely feud a lot more than me. I've had issues where, as a man, I've kind of not proud of it, but I'm like, we can go outside. And that potential for violence, I think, changes how men operate with each other. We kind of understand, like, there's going to be a common level of respect, because there is that at the end of the day.
There's danger there.
And you obviously don't have that with men and women, right? It's a different thing. So him and my sister, I feel like, are very similar personalities, but they've butted heads very, like, outwardly a lot. So anyways, they have their deals. My sister's at my house. She's yelling on the phone, and, like, my two stepdaughters have never seen, like, me and my wife never argue. None of that. We agreed real early on, like, hey, if we ever have some disagreements, let's talk about it calmly later on in private. Let's show them what, like, a loving household looks like, right? So they had never seen this, and they see a grown woman, my sister, yelling at my dad, cussing at him on the phone and all this stuff. And she's like, dude, there was just endless things that trip that I was like, man, I was really burnt on it. And I told him, I said, hey, like, we'll give it one more shot. Maybe not stay at my house. My wife, shortly after that, we found out was pregnant. So I'm like, I'm going to have a newborn baby in here. I can't have you at my house. And fast forward the following year. So this was last Christmas. They get in some sort of disagreement at the hotel on Christmas Eve morning. We're at the house, and my dad decides to just bail. He drives all the way back to Oklahoma. And I'm like, whatever two adults want to argue about is irrelevant to me.
Right.
At the end of the day, I would never leave my daughter or son anywhere high and dry, no matter what the situation was.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't even stop by to say bye to my son, your only actual grandson. Like, you can't say bye, give my wife a hug, give the kids their presents.
Right.
You can't be adult enough to do that. I got to protect my family from the way of life I've dealt with my whole life, and I'm good with it. So I haven't talked to him since.
It's family relations, man.
It is.
It can be very difficult, and I commend you, man, because it what you went through. I mean, there's two ways you can go. You can be like that, or be a totally opposite of that and say, hey, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna break this little, curse or whatever you want to call it, and try to make my family a little bit different. But in the process, it still hurts because you do want to make it right. But it's still butt heads. It's hard, man. Sometimes it's hard with.
There's
family.
only so much you can do with it, right? And it's like, at my core, at everything in my being, that hosting my dad for Christmas was the absolute last thing I'd ever wanted to do. But I just felt like that was what my mom would have wanted, and I owed it to her to try to pay that respect. I mean, there was years where I didn't even have my dad's cell phone number. Mind you, my parents were married like 45 or 46 years when my mom passed away.
Wow.
So for me to have zero relationship with my dad, it's kind of wild. You know, people hear me talk, they think it's like, oh, he's divorced.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking right now.
Right, no, like they were married my whole life, and oddly enough, I actually was watching a Tony Robbins documentary, or it was on he had like a summit basically where he would have people come out, and everyone had different goals. Some people were business goals. They just had certain questions that they wanted fulfilled. It was like a week-long event. It was on Netflix.
Okay.
Anyways, it's completely organic. They have different schedule throughout the day, but there's a part where he's just calling on people in the crowd and talking to them and facilitating different things happen depending on who he's talking to, right? None of it's planned. And he basically gets up talking to this young lady, and her mom are there. And somehow they get to the point where she feels undeserving of love and all these things, and it comes out it's the dad. It's the ultimate like crutch. And long story short, he basically tells them, and they're crying. It's a big ordeal. And I remember watching this and like getting teary eyed as a grown man. This is years ago. I was single at the time, and just like watching it and like, man, like he put into perspective, like, everything good that I am is because of him. And so at the end of the day, I need to thank him for being a bad dad, for being, someone who drank too much or being abusive with their words, that I had then had to self-reflect and be nothing like that. And so ultimately, like, I owed that dude the biggest gratitude I could have. And I wrote a letter and just basically forgave him. And I always struggle with that as a Christian, with the whole forgiveness aspect of it. It wasn't until then that I truly grasped what I was forgiving, and I was forgiving him. Like, none of those actions will ever be okay, but I was forgiving him to free me from that mental jail that I had been in. And honestly, it made me really good at football because I was super violent, super hard-hitting, played defense. It made me excel in a lot of ways, that anger and that resentment, but at the same time, it definitely held me back as being able to have like real emotional connections with anybody, because I felt so reserved, because I grew up with a overpowering dad that what he said went, and there was nothing. It just was what it was. So that was a big point in my life for sure.
It seems like there's nothing like a parent relationship that would drive you one way or another. It seems like you kind of took the anger, some pain, and drove it in the right direction, try to make amends for it, and make it right, and it's not received. And I know you talked about forgiveness. I always think about forgiveness is a crazy thing when you bring in Christianity, because we're told in the church, you must forgive, brother, and it's so painful, and sometimes forgiveness is multiple times. And I think people say, you got to forgive and keep driving or having your dad drive to your house. And so sometimes there's forgiveness. I forgive my dad, but we have to be separate, because because one side's this way and one side's that way. And it doesn't ever come together. Your dad would have to probably like give his life to God and be transformed for you guys to come back together.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right with that. And I'm a grown man at this point to where I'm good, dude. My mother-in-law's talked to me about it, and you got to think at this time, like, we live all the way out here. Like, she's only encountered my dad a handful of times, and like, you're still making first impressions, right? After 5-6 times of seeing somebody, like, to act that way already, it's just wild to me. And so she's shocked that I zero reply. Just, he'll say whatever. And I told her, I said, dude, any reply is what he wants at this point. I've done the cussing and screaming and yelling. I've done all the things you could think about. I'm just done with this dude. And ultimately, I think it's being married, and I think it's seeing my little boy, not wanting him to deal with that type of personality, that it makes it to where I'm done, dude. Like, I got a little guy to protect. I got some girls to protect. They don't need to see that type of behavior, That's not how adults are supposed to act, let alone fathers, so.
Right.
That's very important to me.
Your son not seeing any of that, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely a good thing.
Yeah, 100%.
If your son comes to you and says he wants to be a tattoo artist, are you going to buy him a kit at 16?
I don't know about that, man. Like, It's a grind for sure. I mean, most tattooers don't make it, I feel like. It's but at the same time, man, like I'm gonna support that dude, right? Like
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, dog. Like you know, you want to play football, cool. I'm gonna be your coach. You want me to do this? Cool, let's do it, dog. Like you got somebody in your corner no matter what. So I can't say no, I wouldn't, but you never know, you know. You never know how it goes. He may see enough and be like, I don't want nothing to do.
He
with
might
that.
have some artistic skill in
Yeah,
him. You
yeah,
know what
totally.
I mean? Runs
Yeah.
in the family. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah. I think partly, but man, it's a trade. It's like welding. It's like playing the guitar.
Yeah.
It's got to be a passion, man. It's something you can learn. Right. I mean, I've known plenty of dudes who are not artists at all, but were around the tattoo shop enough that they ended up picking up a broom, ended up then apprenticing, and ended up after replication of designs throughout their career that 25 years in they can draw it on the skin and they can learn because it's a learned trade. It's,
you think it's a learning thing?
100%.
Really?
Drawing is effort and
Wow.
time, unrelenting, continuing to do it. You're going to get good. Some people, yes, you may have an inclination to be a little bit more artistic as far as like an eye or design or whatever, but
Right.
it's a trade. Like it's like welding. You could teach somebody how to do a clean
Technique
weld.
and
It's a
stuff.
technique it's very much taught, and that's why I think when I tell people I'm a tattooer, I don't tell people, oh, I'm a tattoo artist, because yes, there is artistry in it, and I take pride in that, but it's a trade to me. Like it's very
Wow.
much a if my machine breaks, what do? I wrench on it. I mess with it. I tune things. It's got a very much a blue collar trade feel to it.
Because a lot of tattoo artists, I think sometimes they think I'm more artistic than I am a tattoo artist, right?
Yeah.
Art tattooer.
Or they say that to sound cooler.
I think
Just
so.
like the whole books closed thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, my books are. Man, I'm a tattooer, dog. You want to get tattooed on a Sunday, and if my family's not doing nothing and we got bills, I'm gonna come in and tattoo you.
Yeah.
It's a service industry in that way, and I think somewhere along the lines we got off that people think they're cool because they tattoo, and
Right.
you're either cool or you're not. Like you being able to provide a service doesn't make you cool, and I think a lot of guys kind of got that misconstrued.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists like that.
Yeah.
You know, I think they think they're better because they're an artist,
Right.
or they do designs for somebody
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever it may be. Cool, man. I
Hey,
love
respect. That's cool.
yeah, I love the guys that are. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more humble. You know, you can
100%.
walk in their shop, cool dudes, and
Yeah.
kind of have a good time and talk and build a relationship and kind of vibe out a little bit, respect what they do, they respect what you do. Cool,
Yeah,
But
100%.
there's a lot of guys that I think, and maybe that's, like you said, maybe that's a part of the internet, of course. That's part
Yeah,
of
the culture of the internet,
shows and everything, and it just we I think everything's gotten lost in that. And I don't even think it's just it's tattooing.
Oh no, not
it's,
at all.
It's
Yeah,
everything,
it's
right?
everything.
I think everybody, blows up online or blows up on their Instagram, and then it's just like, I think everybody thinks like, well, you didn't have to go what we did before the internet, knock on somebody's door,
Right.
and
Yeah, hand out cards, whatever it was. Yeah.
hustle for that, face to face.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, for me, it's like I got a painting years ago, actually. It just popped in my head. I got a painting from a friend of mine years ago, and just a simple painting, and it has like a little tattoo machine on it with a couple roses or something. And it's been a constant fixture in like my life. I always have it either near like a door or something where I can see it daily. And it just says, get off your high horse. You're just a tattooer. And so I think that's been a constant reminder that, like I said, you're either a cool, good dude or you're not. Like, being a tattooer doesn't define you in that aspect. And I would say that I think a lot of clientele that the first time I tattoo them, they see me online. I'm not like a very much out there guy online. There's a couple photos of me, just so you know what I look like. I used to not do that at all, but there's a couple photos of my bigger dude, face tattoos. I think that they think that it's going to be some sort of like tough guy thing, and then they encounter you, and you're like, oh, you're just a regular dude. Like, I love hunting and fishing and going to church and country music, and I love this country. Like,
I mean,
that's outrageous to say now as a tattooer that you love this country, and it's like, man,
crazy.
like, it's giving me everything, and like my family everything. Like, why would it's wild to me that somehow is controversial, specifically within tattooing. It's really
since you said that, you know what's funny is that I always put every one of my guests through Chat GPT.
uh-huh.
So I put in there tattoo artist Derek Billingsley. and so comes back, traditional. Show some of your work.
Oh, okay.
Where to
That's
find
cool.
your Instagram. But there was a Reddit little post in there.
Oh,
and
really?
It was like, oh yeah, he's a great artist, and he'd be a great guy if he didn't post so much. I think it was MAGA, or he didn't.
Oh, I love this. I
It,
had no idea about this.
it said something like that, or
I gotta look
he's
that
so
up.
anti this and that, and I was like, because I've been following you
Yeah.
for a while, and I was like, okay, I saw some of your stories, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
here
okay,
and there.
cool.
Yeah.
I don't think it's far fetched. I don't think it's like far right stuff.
No.
I think for a guy that loves America, I mean, it should be something we all post.
Yeah, no, totally. And this is specifically was definitely during COVID. I was adamantly against the lockdowns, the mask. I was pro freedom.
Yeah.
If you so chose to want to do it. When they started forcing all of it is where they really pushed my buttons.
Especially for you guys.
Yeah. I luckily I taped up the front of the windows. I tattooed the whole time. Very much a pirate industry, but I got very outspoken. And specifically, dude, I mean, you look around, there's evil everywhere, and it's being pushed by a certain demographic, which is communist, that I know the history of that belief system and that political ideology that I'm not going to ever be an advocate or okay with.
I tell people.
And I think that's how me and Josiah met.
Probably.
Is through my church, Calvary Chapel in Chino Hills.
Okay.
Josiah does the security.
Right.
And so through that, we kind of connected through I think an event he was speaking at. He was running for Congress at the time.
Yeah.
And Larry Elder was there, and I think that's how we actually met, was the fact that this is a Christian conservative tattooer that loves Jesus and loves this country, and he immediately wanted to support me and get tattooed, and I've been tattooing him ever since. But I had many tattooers, I mean, no lie, hundreds, hitting me up for being outspoken. Hey, thanks, man. Like, I want to say what you're saying. It's like, and they're like, oh, do you ever worry about this or that? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, nothing I believe in my heart I'm saying is controversial.
Right.
Nothing. So it's like, at that rate, like, if we don't speak up now, we are going to have no country left.
And I think that's the problem.
100%.
Everybody's afraid to say anything.
Yeah.
And then we get a guy running for mayor of New York that hates this country. And that's on video saying that he hates his country. I can't believe, and he's, socialist. He's a communist. He's taking pictures with terrorist groups and figures. And I'm like, we forgot that fast,
Yeah, which is crazy because arguably that's probably the most important city in America.
It is.
That is the staple of this country, where the country, for lack of a better, it was founded. I mean, that is the forefront of all wealth, the Wall Street, all of it.
If you ask anybody around the world, they'll tell you New York City.
100%,
If you ask them, name a city in America, New York.
100%.
They might name LA.
Yeah.
Especially if you go
and it's just crazy that somebody like that who's openly said that, we want to tax people in white neighborhoods more than others, or that they want government-funded grocery stores. Like, we've heard of bread lines.
Yes.
At the beginning of every communist revolution, it always revolves around food. And so I think that's part of the play right now with the Democrats holding up the government reopening because they want to give illegals health care and benefits because they know that a revolution begins if people cannot feed their families. And so, there's many people, obviously, that really do need the help with the SNAP benefits, but at the same time, there's so many people that have been milking it our entire lives. People I grew up with, I've known, have been on food stamps our entire lives.
That wasn't what it was meant to be for.
No, it's meant to be a bridge. Like, I'm compassionate, man. You lose your job, you got some kiddos, like, that's who we should be able to help out. I think it should be like a 6 month to a year thing.
Yeah.
A couple times in your life. We'll pick you up. We'll help you out. That's what our tax dollars, I believe, should go to help. 100%. Yeah. But people that are, I can't work that many hours because now it's going to affect this amount of benefit, or I can't take this job, or I'm going to have another kid because now I'm going to get more. That is wildly dishonest, and I'm not with it.
And that was, we talked about strong parts of a family, a mother, a father.
100%.
I mean, they give more when the father's not in the home.
It's incentivized.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, this is to hold you back. This is to hold you down. Like, and to break up this. There is a whole plan behind this. And it's it's like it's a spiritual thing too.
It is.
To break up the home. The enemy knows he's started to try to break up the marriage in the garden, Adam and Eve.
Yep.
You know, he knows that it's a foundational.
Yeah.
God, family, country.
Sure.
If he can remove God, great, which he's been very successful the last 50 years in America.
Yeah.
Right? Now he's working on the family. And now he's going to start working on the country, which falling apart a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
The divide here. And it's not even a divide of ideas. You know, I was watching a video today and they were showing that people that voted for that guy, you know,
Mamdani,
yeah, and voted for him, right? So they voted. Why did you vote for him? Oh, he's young. He looks fresh.
Yeah. You
Like,
haven't listened to a word he said?
Nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, then they went to like the bus drivers, right? And they want free, you know, public transportation for everybody. And they asked those guys, and they're like, it can't happen.
It's physically impossible.
It's impossible. It's unsafe. It will get people that don't respect anything.
For sure.
You defund the police. Who are you going to call? You know, it's just going to, and I think there's
going to create chaos.
I think there's some people on the right that want it to happen because they want to see it fall. I don't want it to happen because it seems like
good people are going to be wrapped up in that.
Yes.
There's people that are compassionate and they want to believe the best, and that's an admirable trait for sure. And people have been flirting with this communist idea that it's like there's people that are like, all right, yeah, like get what you get as far as if you voted in, but like it's dangerous, man. And I think back to the benefits and the removing the father, that's all to create a dependency on the government, which in turn is what communist is. They want to create zero private ownership. They want to create everyone to be dependent on the government and advocating for more government. And that's what they've gotten. They've gotten people that literally are going to vote for who is going to keep their benefits flowing. And as soon as it's opposing that, they're adamantly against it. But back to what you were saying, I think you're totally right. You know, they have, you know, the people behind it all, they truly, they want the infighting.
Yeah.
They want right versus left. They want gay versus straight. They want black versus white. They want Republican versus Democrat. They want that to where we're not all in alliance, because when you get down to it, man, I think most people's moral compasses, they fall way more in line than we...
I say that all the time, man. It's so crazy.
I think that's, you know, when I say us versus them, I kind of, from time to time, will talk about that. It's us as the American people.
Right.
We all have to live with the result of what happens from the ivory tower of these politicians, man. Like, you got to think... So here's a great analogy that I'm sure you've probably heard. I've heard and always resonates with me, and I think about it all the time. You could put 100 fire ants in a mason jar, right? And they'll live copacetic. They'll chill. They'll hang out. They'll do their thing, you know, whatever. But if someone were to grab that mason jar and shake it just ever so slightly, those fire ants will fight and kill each other till the death. Yeah. That's what's happening. We're not mad at we're getting mad at the fellow fire ant. We should be mad at who's shaking the jar.
Right. And
there's a certain group of people that are shaking the jar continuously. As soon as it's Russia versus Ukraine, or it's BLM versus this, it's COVID versus, you know, this, it's always something time after time after time to divide us, instead of us all realizing, no, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. And there is a validity to a lot of it. Like you're saying with the socialists, communists, there is that, but at the same time, I think a lot of that is to enrage us, to get people to act out a certain way, to keep the eyes off of who needs to be held accountable, you know? So it's us versus them, and them is the people that are pulling the strings of all of it. You know?
Yeah. I think going back, what you said was, I mean, we're more aligned than we think. I mean, when you walk down the street, and your neighbor says hi, or a dude down the street says, what's up? You're different. I don't look like him. He doesn't look like me, but we live on the same block. Yeah. You know, and we're it's cool. You know, and I tell a friend, and he likes to label things all the time. Well, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And I said, what do you believe, bro? I told him like that. What do you believe? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, you like guns. I like guns. We used to go shooting with my dad when we were young. You went with us. Like, you believe in the Second Amendment? Yeah, I believe it. Of course, you know that. I said, okay, so do I. So you believe that we should be able to protect ourselves. Yeah. Cool. Do you believe people should worship their God? Yeah. Go to church. You're a Catholic. I'm Christian. You like to go to church. They should do that, right? do you believe that your children should have an opportunity to make money, to do what they want to do, to start a business, and maybe not have so many things holding them back? Yeah, I definitely believe that.
Yeah.
Do you believe like in a traditional family? Yeah. I said, dude, like, what don't you believe that I don't believe?
Right.
The only thing is
minor things.
It is in maybe a title.
Yeah.
Maybe in a label that you don't want to agree with because of whatever reason, because you're afraid, whatever. But dude, pretty much we're exactly the same person almost.
Yeah, and you're really talking about the core fundamentals of life. That's really what, like, everything else is such a microcosm of what's out there. Like, yeah, it's just crazy to me. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm fair share of calling out communists and people acting a certain type of way.
We're calling out both sides, right?
But call out both sides.
Yeah.
I at this point, man, like,
I agree.
I have historically always voted Republican. I've carried a gun since I can remember. I want lower taxes. They seem to be the party that believes in God. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But that's under the pretext that I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point where I don't identify with that party either at this current time.
Yeah.
They seem to be a little bit too affected by a certain country that is not America. And I am wholeheartedly America first above everything. I think this country is the greatest country there is. We should be held down by no country and doing nothing in the behalf of any other country than our own until our situation's fixed.
Right.
Bro, if we have the streets are safe, there's no homeless problem, there's no crime, there's all these things that people are able to, start their businesses and do their things, sure. As a Christian, yes, atrocities are happening. I would hope that we're able to help out people. But to have occupations of countries all across the country, across the world for nefarious reasons, I'm not for, and I'll never be for.
Yeah, I think there's some. We're talking about Israel for one. So I think there is some. Okay, so there is some controversy. Obviously, I know your pastor.
Yeah,
he's pro-Israel, but I think the thing is you can be pro-Israel, the people.
100%. And I've been saying that the whole time.
The government is not always the greatest. So I think there's two things right there. I think there's some things where, as believers, we want to support. For me, I want to support Israel. There's a couple things I want to support. We need to have somebody over there to be eyes and ears for us in that region.
Yeah,
they're the only democratic country in that region. I was a little upset the other day when Netanyahu broke the peace treaty. I think we got to be a little bit more diplomatic about a few things there.
For sure.
Do I think we should send money all over the world? No, because I think we're hurting really bad.
We are.
And I think you got to build your house up first in order to help somebody else.
Yeah, totally.
If I don't provide for my family here, but everybody else provide for everywhere else, I think that's dangerous. But I think it's okay to say what we said. But I think sometimes people take it further where it's almost anti-Semitic, and I think there's a fine line. I think there's some things where we can be like we are with our own country. I love my country.
I'm the most critical of our country, and I love it.
But I have to be critical of it. Yeah. If I was going to a church that wasn't spending my money correctly, I wouldn't just say, "Hey God, can you fix this church?" I probably would say, "Hey, I don't see our money getting spent on the building or the youth program or this conference or bringing in this speaker or are being used in a good way. If the church is dilapidated and there's no money for the kids but the pastor's driving a Mercedes-Benz, then I'm like, what's going on? And I think that's the same. I think you should question those things.
Yeah, that's with anything.
But does that erase the people in the church and me supporting them and them needing help? No.
Oh, absolutely not.
Still gonna help them.
Yeah, no, totally. I am 100% in agreement. I think where people get in trouble is the being vague about it.
Yeah.
It's very much Netanyahu. It's very much certain people in power that, if we want to get down to it, aren't even Semitic. He's Polish. He's not of Semite.
It gets complicated.
It does get complicated. So, but at the end of the day, I just think that if you have dual citizenship with any country, let alone it being Israel, that you should then not have say-so in politics in that country.
We got a lot of that right
We have a lot of that on both sides.
Yeah.
It's not just Republicans.
Yeah.
It's Democrats as well. I just feel like there's going to be a dual loyalty. You're gonna have to pick one or the other, right?
It's weird because you know what's funny about that is we have a lot of people on the right that are come from Cuba,
Yeah,
right, and they understand.
for sure.
And then they put America first, right away. They know what their country was. They love their country. That's where they're from, and they might run for. We still have some Mexicans come up from Mexico, run for Congress, and they're like, "Hey, America first." I got it, but you have these. The left seems to like wave their home country flag first, and then the American flag in the back, and it's like, why would you want to come here and change this country? And
From a country you
left.
Yeah.
Instead of going and just changing that country and making that better.
100%.
Why do you want to turn it into that country? It doesn't make sense to me. And to say that, it's controversial.
And it shouldn't be.
It's you know, I was thinking, and I went to the Dodger parade yesterday.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm at the parade and I'm looking around and I had to say, you know, the owner gets up there and they booed him because supposedly he funds something that helps ICE or something like that. I don't know the whole story, but I'm like, okay.
Oh, they were holding detention centers at Chavez Ravine.
No. What
that.
happened was he is part owner in some technology that helps identify, you know, faces.
Oh, like facial recognition.
And then ICE is using that technology for I mean, I'm thinking like, okay, it's technology that the whole world probably uses. It's technology that you can probably use if somebody kidnapped your kid and they found the videos.
Yeah.
You know,
they're framing it in a certain way.
Yeah, so sure. I don't know the full story, but they were kind of booing him, and then I was thinking like, this team is probably headed to the White House, and it's going to be controversial now of who goes to the White House, who doesn't. And there's been a lot of athletes, and I'm grateful that say, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. I'm never going to be able to go to the White House.
For sure.
Whoever's in the White House, it is what it is. I'm going.
Yeah, that's an honor.
Yeah, it's an honor. I'm going. We won the championship. I don't have to agree with all the politics. I mean, there's been tons of people that went to the White House before that probably didn't agree with a Democratic policies and still went. So, but it gets like, I was thinking, it gets so murky in everything where everything becomes political.
For sure.
And I get it. Everything can come political. If we look for everything to become political, hey, the Dodgers, you know, they took over Chavez Ravine back in the day, and it was full of Mexicans in the house, and they demolished it. That didn't only happen at Chavez Ravine. It happened everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everywhere you look, I drove through Echo Park yesterday, and I hadn't been to Echo Park in forever. And I'm like, yoga studio, Sprouts.
Completely
and I'm like,
different.
I saw the movie Mi Vida Loca.
Yeah.
It doesn't look anything like that anymore. I don't see no cholos walking down the street. But I'm thinking, it happens. And is it good? Probably not. I mean, it does it happen? It does. And we evolve. But it gets really murky. And I think that, you know, the other good thing I thought about yesterday at the parade, and me and you are Raider fans, and I love it because I love the demographic of Raider fans.
Oh yeah,
and I love the demographic of LA fans. Period. Dodger fans. It's just so mixed. I think the Raiders more than anything because they've been in 3 different places, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You get the homeboys in here. You get the hyphy black people from the Bay, and now you got this new demographic in Las Vegas, and we got these 3 different things. But when you put us all together, it's just like we're rooting for one team.
Yeah,
and all
the other stuff goes to the side, right?
It goes to the side.
Yeah,
and you're at the game, and I don't care if this guy's a cholo or this dude's gay or whatever.
Yeah,
this is my team, and if they score a touchdown,
we're slapping hands.
I'm gonna give a high five. And I was thinking that should be a microcosm of this country.
Oh,
like,
totally.
If we win, we all win.
And I said that plenty of times. That's what I'm advocating for is the success.
But you're a bad guy if you say that,
for
bro.
All of us.
I'm
speaking out against communism because I don't want bad things to happen to Americans.
But if you do that, bro, you're a racist white guy.
I'm a Nazi, or I'm this, or I'm that, and that. At this point, these terms to me hold zero weight. You know what's funny? I never had Twitter. X now or whatever. I wanted to, after Elon purchased it, I was like, okay, well, this somewhat seems like, okay, maybe they're going to have some more free speech.
Yeah.
Because I've been getting shadow banned and all this stuff for years, ever since I started speaking out against the COVID stuff. So I'm like, I maybe get some, like, unfiltered news. Just the truth. I just want to hear some, and there's obviously a ton of not that on there as well. But I just I'm like, dude, what? my bio, I just put like freedom fighter, domestic terrorist, all the things they call Christian men, I just put it on there as like a badge. Like, yeah, call me what you want. Like, I'm going to put it. Yeah, that's my name. Yep. So whatever you say holds zero weight, right?
Yeah.
Like, but back to what you're saying with sports, I totally agree. And to me, ultimately, can we not all agree upon that sports are for kids and it's a game to have fun?
Yeah.
And that's where I've lost. Honestly, man, I don't know how I've held on to football, but football is the one sport. I think maybe because I played forever, it's been my love my whole life. But I got rid of the Dodgers because they got political at a certain point that was vehemently against what I believe.
Lakers for me. I was a big
Lakers
Lakers
the
fan.
same way. They put criminals' names on the jerseys and we're glorifying them, and I'm not with that.
I kind of turned. So yeah, when the Lakers got real political, and
I just wanted it to be about sports,
and
man.
LeBron came and made it more political. And
He's what brought it down for me.
I was like, I can't watch it no more. I mean,
I used to watch it too. I agree.
I mean, Kobe, Jordan, just talked about the sports. I mean, Jordan's famous quote was, "Republicans buy sneakers too."
Yeah.
So he was all about. He gets railed for that, but he just said
sure.
he doesn't care. He's like, hey, I had my beliefs. That's it.
Business.
Kobe was the same way. I don't know if it would have changed. I mean, seems like Kobe passed before this world got all turned
super
up,
crazy. Yeah,
turned upside down, and somebody would have got mad at him, right?
Yeah.
But it was really, I did the Raiders because I think the whole NFL, for the most part, after the whole kneeling thing, kind of stick to their guns, right?
Yeah.
I think I did get mad a little bit about the Dodgers. That was a tough one for me.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, when the nuns came. Those weird, the trans nuns made a joke.
I got rid of every Dodger jersey. I used to go to about 30 games a year. I haven't watched. You know what? The other night, 9th inning, I just turned it on, and I ended up watching. And they went to extra innings. That's the first innings of Dodgers baseball I've watched since that happened.
I'll tell you what changed my mind on that. So I had a problem with that.
Yeah.
I was like, and I know a lot of people that were believers that said, no, I'm not supporting them no more. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
And when I talked to, I know I had their chaplain here, Reverend Rudy. Reverend Rudy came in. I asked him, I said, how did that work for you?
Yeah.
Being there.
Yeah.
You know, he does Bible study with the Spanish speaking players on both teams before the game. Knows a lot of Spanish speaking players, and he goes, it wasn't the players, man.
Oh no, yeah.
He goes, it was ownership.
Yeah, 100%.
He goes, and they realized immediately.
Oh, they put out public disclaimer immediately
that they screwed up because it wasn't just the Christian people.
Oh yeah,
they offended like the hardcore Catholic,
which
is a giant big demographic of their fans.
Hispanic Americans are mostly Catholic, so it's like, I seen videos of old men, burning their jerseys. They're like, dude, nothing's bigger than my God. Like, I'm not doing this.
I know guys that said, I'm not going to be a fan anymore.
And at the same token, I dislike cancel culture, but I just feel like I have to support my values in a certain way that
I respect that.
It's kind of to a detriment at times because I'm like, man, I wish I could overlook. Like, I can't watch certain movies because there's certain people are in it. I very much have trouble.
What do you mean? You don't like to watch Goodfellas no more?
Dude.
Casino?
I used to always think that guy would be the coolest grandpa. And now I'm like, man, I'd be ashamed if you were in my family. Like, it's crazy.
Okay,
like,
that's a problem for me sometimes.
The downfall of that guy.
Right.
I'm like, whoa, what is going on, buddy?
I went to go see a movie the other day.
Is this genuine or is this... It's obviously partly paid, partly... It's just...
It's weird, huh?
It's very strange.
It was very hard for me. I wouldn't recommend the movie, but Sean Penn was in it. But I just couldn't watch the movie.
Captain Ukraine?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean Penn.
Yeah, I just couldn't watch the movie and really knowing his political beliefs. And it's ruined them because and it does come back because we don't watch sports, we don't watch movies, we don't listen to music for politics.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, I was a big Rage Against the Machine fan.
Oh,
I went to a bunch of their concert, loved it. I still, if it comes up in the headphones when I'm at the gym, hey, I'm getting pumped, right?
You're better than me, bro.
But when I really think about it, the Red Star
hurts your soul, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, dang, I was that kid. You know what I mean? That was really into
the vaccine.
Take
it, or
that was another thing too.
Do everything they tell you. Like I can't listen to them. That's like fundamental tattoo shop music. Rage Against the Machine. Can't do it.
I know. It's just it's just like I listen to it now and it's like, it's not.
It feels different, right?
Yeah, it's not what it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
But
I'm guilty of it at the same time.
I know it's hard
because I'll then choose to support something else more because they have voiced their opinion of supporting the police or supporting our country or the belief in Jesus Christ, and I'll wholeheartedly be like, I am on board.
Right.
So I'm guilty in that way as well.
They drew the lines for us.
Yeah.
Right. And that was the thing. It was, you knew there was underlying things that you didn't agree with.
For sure.
But it was always left out. It was always left out of, I mean, I wouldn't say entertainment necessarily, Hollywood, but there would be actors that kind of kept to themselves. There would be, and even them. It's kind of sad because if they speak out, their career's over.
Yeah.
100%. I think there's some athletes that have been brave and come out, and I think they've empowered other athletes. I like the Dodgers because there is a lot of believers. That's
cool.
And,
that's awesome.
And I think they're on their team, and I think that's good. I think that's what makes them great. You know what I mean? And they have some crazy guys like Kike Hernandez.
Oh, of course.
Psycho, dude. It's fun though.
He's awesome though, right? Like I still, he's rad.
He's fun, right? So
For
I'm like, okay, cool. But I think, man, when we watch sports, it's like
we want to be entertained.
I want to just have a good time.
Totally.
I don't want
It's
to.
a break from the world. It's a break from
Exactly.
worrying about paying your bills or how I'm going to provide this for my kids next week or whatever it is. Like ultimately, that's where I got upset. Is this is ultimately a kid's game and we're destroying it, and I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I was at with it. I do need, back to what we were talking about earlier, I do need to have a level of forgiveness because I understand as well that, man, you should not agree with any human on every topic ever. So obviously if a sports team does something, you're going to disagree with something, right? You're not going to just blindly like, oh, everything they do is awesome.
Yeah.
So in that token, we should have a little bit of grace to be like, all right, they made a mistake there. How do they fix that? How do they proceed further? And go from there.
That was huge for me.
Yeah.
Like I haven't watched. I mean, I've been to a few Laker games, but I haven't really sat down and watched. I can't because it's just too much to me. It's always something political about it.
You're totally right. And for me, being a white Christian man, not even Christian, being a white man, there seems to be such an okay with being outwardly racist towards white people, specifically on the NBA. Stephen A. Smith is probably one of the most racist humans I've ever seen talk, and it's like trying to hear that guy commentate every other thing is about race. I'm like, bro, it's pretty sickening to me.
I feel like when I'm like, I know a lot of great white people. What is?
I know a lot of great of every race,
right?
And it's like I thought racism was literally judging someone based off the color of their skin.
Yeah.
Right. Not the content of the character, but like they've somehow with the cultural Marxism created this narrative that the only way you can be racist is if you're in a position of power. It's like, dog, I'm not in any power. I'm barely paying my bills every month. I'm just like everybody else. Like, what power do I have that you don't have, or vice versa? Like,
I told a guy that the other day. I'm like, dude, you know, there's more poor white people in this country than there are black people and brown people.
100%.
I was like,
but they're not committing violent crime. So it's like
it doesn't get highlighted.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
I think that it's gotten bad, man.
But all that to say is all to get back to them wanting us to be divisive against each other. And ultimately, we all have to live with the repercussions of what happens in our climate. That the only way this ever gets fixed, without it sounding like hippy dippy, is we all have to figure out a way to get along and institute and put the country on a course that is beneficial for all of us. And I think that's what the Constitution did. We've just gotten so far away from it. I mean, I know certain political people in the spectrum that they vehemently hate that artifact. They do not like anything about that. They've misconstrued it and tried to change it to act like it's not of Christian values or of this. It's like
it's one of the most. It's less the Bible. I mean, for sure,
right?
But it's one of the most perfect written things.
And to think those guys were in their 20s, 30s,
I mean,
we're founding this greatest experiment we've ever seen. And what are we at? About to be 250 years.
There's so many checks in it too.
Culmination. Well, how do they even know about this or that in the future that it check on a check on a check? Yeah.
The way it's set up is, and I think people don't really study it. You know what I mean? I think
it's a lack of education. I
don't think they really understand that it is. You know, it is one of the most perfect documents ever written. If we didn't have it in place, a lot of things would go south. We look like a lot of these other countries.
Yeah, totally.
It's pretty. It's pretty sad. But You know, I mean, for me, dude, I think the biggest thing is the heart. It's
100%.
When
We're
people's
living in a wicked
hearts
world right now.
get changed, then
For
this
sure.
country will get changed. Because I think above anything else, it's a spiritual thing.
Yep.
And I think when America went south, we're founded on Christian principles.
100%.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we went away.
Every law in our country is based off of the Bible.
Yeah.
Every single law.
Exactly.
Whether you believe in the Bible or not, like if you read it, whether you believe each story to be true, this, that, the third, every bit of it is why our country is the way it is. I mean, look at our currency even.
Because where do you get
Just down to
morality
it.
from?
100%. Yeah. It's just common sense.
So I think when the hearts of people begin to change, then these other things will change.
For sure.
I think you know what I was laughing because I was thinking about you tattooing in a tattoo shop. It's another microcosm of what this country should look like, right?
Yeah.
So I think when I go to my buddy owns 3 Foot Radius.
Oh, okay.
AB Alvarez.
Yeah.
So I go over there and it's a great time, man. We have fun. Me and AB's beliefs align up pretty closely, but there's some guys in there that it doesn't align up to, and it's fine. I love those guys.
Common respect.
We have a
right.
great time in there. We talk about our views.
Yeah.
And I always laugh because one time, AB calls me out one day. Who are you voting for? In front of the whole shop, and it was packed. Hey man, I think I'm gonna vote for Trump, dude, because the values that they stand up for. I don't agree with everything.
Right.
Align a little bit closer to mine. I can't go the other way. It's just nothing over there aligns up with me, bro.
For
and he
sure.
goes, right on, bro. And I was like, dude, I thought I was gonna get hammered after that.
Yeah.
But we go in there and there are disagreements. There are guys
For
in
sure.
there that don't agree, and we have a great conversation. And I love that because we don't agree on everything. I'm a believer. They're not.
Well, that's how you learn and grow,
There's
right?
guys outside maybe getting high. Okay. But they'll come over, hey, how's everything? Ask about my family. Ask about things are going. And we're all different colors. There's a white dude in there. There's street dudes in there. There, hood dudes.
Don't
whatever.
matter at that point, yeah.
At that point, it doesn't really matter. You're getting tattooed. That came out dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Common respect.
You're running this business.
Sure.
I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
It's getting slow. It's the holidays. I get it. You can't wait till tax season comes. Then you're rolling again. All these good things. But
Feast or famine, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's like the barbershop too. Same.
Yeah, I totally agree with the barbershop there. I go through phases of long hair, shaved head, hair, and ultimately I get back to going to the barbershop because I just like going to the barbershop, hanging out with the boys, talking trash about whatever, what I mean? Just being the dudes. I really enjoy that, and that's what I've always felt like the tattoo shop should feel like as well. A lot of similarities in that. Now that you're mentioning that, it kind of makes me think there was a period of time, peeking out of COVID through all this craziness that I was praying a lot about it. I didn't know if I was called to do something else, because I looked around, specifically social media, that I felt like I no longer identified with being a tattooer. There's these people championing, like you were saying, communism and all this crazy ideologies to me that I don't think we were all different always, but I just felt very much like, man, I feel like I'm in such a dark industry that I didn't know if I was supposed to be there, or if I was supposed to be somewhere else, or, I didn't know what, the Lord had in store for me. And I was really kind of struggling with it, privately, and I didn't tell nobody nothing, but I was praying about it a lot. And then I just, got back to the point where it's like, man, I'm taught to be the light. Mm-hmm. And, I honestly used to be very quiet about my faith. I've kind of had a grandma that was very much in the church, and she was that influence. And I remember going to church, with her, and then doing like youth groups, like Young Life, and doing that kind of stuff as a kid. And I've always had this very much private, personal journey to faith. And I remember, and so it's always been very private. I haven't, a lot of people didn't ever know. And now hindsight, I'm like, man, I kind of feel guilty about not professing my faith more. But during that time where I was feeling maybe I should be doing something else, is this where I'm supposed to be? I really started to just be more open with it. And that was part of me being vocal on the COVID things with the lockdowns and all that, that then I started, professing that Jesus Christ was king outwardly on social media, which, you know, I got riffraff for that. And that is what it is. You know, I don't care about that. But what ended up started happening is I would just be having regular conversations with clients, and, you know, some conversations are very topical and fun, and baseball, football, whatever it is, and those are awesome. And then certain conversations are very heavy. And, you know, I was reading books a lot at the time other than just the Bible. I would read the Bible daily, and I would read other books, and I was on a fitness journey at the time. I was working out 5-6 days a week. I was doing all these awesome things. And so I started, you know, having these more detailed, deep conversations with clients. And you know, there's certain ones where I can specifically remember where it's like, man, it got so heavy. And, you know, I don't know, it just came over me. I just was like, dude, like, at the end of the session, like, hey, man, you know, like, where all that perception of what I was saying comes from, and it's in one book you can read. Like, it's very affordable. You can go get one right now, no problem. You know, he's like, oh, and certain ones you could feel it, and they would be, oh, what is the book? And I didn't know their release, this, that, the third, about that. We were talking about a heavy subject, but that doesn't mean anything as far as that goes. I was like, it's the Holy Bible. And I ended up having, throughout this course of events, 5 or 6 different clients of mine. Hey, man, can I go to church with you? And I was going to Harvest at the time with Letitia. And Greg Laurie and Letitia Wood. And, I met a lot of great people there. That was before I switched over to Calvary Chapel. But I took them, and, man, I seen 5 or 6 of my clients give their life to the Lord.
Wow.
And I was like, man, no, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I need to bring light to this industry. This industry's gotten so dark, and it's almost like championed or cool to be satanic or, you know, blasphemous, or it just, I didn't identify with that at all, to where, man, when the time's right, I should never be bashful. And it honestly gave me a lot of confidence to talk more about my faith because of that, because I was able to have these private conversations and just be a human. I wasn't preaching, you know, scripture word for word. I was, you know, for lack of I was just,
you're just being used.
Saying it. It was facilitating through me. Yeah. And I was quoting scripture without knowing I was quoting scripture, but I knew that that's where the beliefs came from. You know, and I just, that really put a whole new purpose in my life. I'm like, oh, man,
I think
that's awesome.
God uses us in those positions. I think sometimes when we, obviously, if you were a bouncer at a strip club, probably wouldn't be, maybe God will pull you somewhere else.
For sure. But those opportunities wouldn't be happening, I don't believe.
But I think you'll probably get more in trouble for that. But I think there's certain dark places, you know, that can become dark that God puts us in. You know, I think right now, you know, I've talked to like a teacher, you know, and this guy was on the podcast. He's a principal of a school now. And I said, and we were talking, and he was saying how, you know, but believers don't want to be in the public schools. They want to teach at a private school now. And he says, I don't believe that. And I said, I'm right with you, bro. Like, we need good teachers. And when you're not, even if the teacher's not sharing Jesus necessarily outspoken in the classroom, the kids know. And the kids can feel the love of a believer, right? Mm-hmm. My wife teaches, same thing. She knows, and she's able to minister just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, and just to say the nice thing, and or to love on a kid that you can tell is not being loved at home. You know what I mean? And just
100%.
And then they see her and they run up to her, give her a hug, and she just, hey, how's it going? Ask them about their day. How's everything? Spreading the love. And I think there's that industry. I think there's the industry of Hollywood. You know, where you have somebody's got to be in there. You know what I mean? And I had another friend the other day. He's involved in politics. He's in a very, I won't say who he is, but he's in a position where it's really far left, and he says that he battles. And I told him the story of Nehemiah.
Yeah.
Here's Nehemiah, and he's close to the king, right? He has the king's ear, and he uses the king's ear to put something in him, and then he sends him to rebuild the wall. And I said, maybe God has you. You know, maybe you shouldn't quit.
Yeah.
If this high politician is kind of listening to what you're saying, you have some conversations, maybe you're able to share the love of Jesus. Maybe you're able to pray for him. Maybe you're able to throw something and plant the seed, and then let God water it and let it sprout. So I think there is a lot of areas where we as Christians, obviously if you're weak in your walk and it might hinder you.
Yeah.
But when you get to that point, like you said, where I know who I am, I know what I stand for, I know who's my God. Hey, God's going to use me in this area. I got 3 hours with this guy.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell me his life story probably, and I can share my life story. And whether I plant the seed and he comes to church next week, or whether I plant the seed and somebody else waters it down the line.
For sure.
I did my job.
No, you're 100% right. And you got to think too, like, what happens if we turn our back on those industries and say, hey, you know what? We're done. I'm going to step away. How far do they really fall?
Exactly.
And I battled that for a long time with California specifically, man. Like,
right a guy
I've been all over the
coming
country.
from Oklahoma, where you don't have to worry about all these craziness here. You're probably like,
it's there too, bro. It's in the universities. It's in the major cities. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of
this is the front line, though.
100%.
I feel like if we surrender here, it's just gonna keep going.
And that's really what gravitated me towards Jack Hibbs. Was Greg Laurie is a great evangelist. He's brought tons of people to the Lord, and he's amazing for that. But he wasn't sharpening my sword as a Christian, as someone who's already saved. How do I operate in this world, in these chaotic, crazy, demonic times we're dealing with? I need a little bit of current issues paired with how to be a Christian and how to respond.
Because that's how you're built.
Yeah, and
right?
that's what Jack was giving me for sure. And so that's where I was kind of pulled towards that. And Jack was one of the people, because at the time I was like, man, I could move to Idaho. I used to live in Nashville. I used to live in Dallas. I'm like, these are great places. I would live on the outskirts of all these places, but great places to live, raise a family, have a business, all these things. And Jack really was like, man, like you're saying, like, dude, we're in the fight as a believer. Like, this is ground zero. This is a war zone. Yeah. Like California, it's like if we all, as good Christians, pack up and leave like a bunch of my friends did, no knock on them, what happens to this state? Very much like what we're talking about with different careers. Like, if we all just tuck our tails and run, it's completely over with.
Yeah.
Like, as a Christian, we're taught to take up our sword.
Right.
And I battle from time to time. Not battle, but I have these thoughts about the people who seem to not even be much in the Word. They profess to be Christians. They go to church. They do the thing. But they only choose to quote the passivity parts of the Bible. And it's like, man, like, as far as I'm concerned, Jesus was a bad dude, right? Like, you flip a table over, you don't have a sword, you better sell everything you own and take up a sword. Like, he's very detailed in how to respond to evil, and that's what I've always kind of identified with, I guess. So I battled Christians in itself too. I think a lot of us have. It's good to challenge each other in a loving way, obviously. Yeah,
I think there's room for everybody, but I think for some people it takes a little bit more. I need that challenge.
Yeah,
I need that. I don't want to be. I'm not passive either.
Yeah.
So
very direct.
I need to know. Hey, tell me straight up. I need a pastor that's going to preach the word. My pastor's very adamant about that.
Where do you go?
I go to Elevate Ministries. It's in Orange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my pastor is Pastor Adam Friedrich. He's been on here a couple times. I'll send you a couple.
Right.
To know him.
I was hoping you had a local church.
Yeah.
Because my son's a year and a half old, so I just do it at the house right now. It's too hard to get everybody out the house, and he's not, he's saying a couple words here and there. I want him to be able to tell me, hey, this is what happened, Dad. This was, cool. All right. But I want to find a local church close to Rancho Cucamonga, because I want to build that community of, I want the girls to, so-and-so, she goes to my church. Like, gather more friendship and fellowship that way within the church community, because going out to Chino Hills, we're not going to ever get that. We see each other on Sundays. Hey, how are you doing? Or occasional on a Wednesday, but
mega churches it's tough sometimes.
It's tough. It's good because you can go in and just get the word.
Yeah.
But
when you have a family, you want to get them involved.
And as a real believer,
yeah,
I want to be surrounded by other Christians in fellowship. I want to meet the kid who's on fire for the Lord who just got saved last week. And I also want to meet the guy who's been walking for 50 years who's got the level of wisdom and understanding of the word that I'm nowhere near. I want to have all of that. And, a small group can give you that, but there's nothing better than personal fellowship in person. It's unmatched. I think that's why me and Josiah got along so well. It's like, started getting tattooed, and then we would just have these flowing conversations that would just happen, and it's like he's a lot more educated than I am on a lot of things. And,
he's super good.
We
had him come speak at our church.
Oh, rad, yeah. He's a great dude.
He came and shared some stuff about the education system.
Yeah.
Was really good. Gave some really good sound
He's awesome.
advice,
It's kind of funny because like you meet him, and me and him seem to be polar opposites.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that. I mean, he's got this decorated career and all these great things, and like, but that dude's never looked at me twice like I was anything other than a brother in Christ.
Yeah,
like
I went back today,
buddy,
and I found the message.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, have you thought of this?" And I think I had a brand one time for a long time, Savior brand. And I think I followed you for a while.
Yeah.
On that, and then and I hadn't been on it for somebody else runs it now, but he goes, "Hey, there's this guy, Derek Billingsley," and after he goes, "You gotta check him out and stuff. I think he'd be great for your show." But my first inclination was like, how are you guys friends? Like,
how are y'all connected at all? Because like
I went to your page and I looked you up and I was like,
yeah,
this is totally polar opposites. It would seem on the surface,
100%, yeah.
But then after I talk to you guys,
and
then I go, okay, I know how they connected.
Yeah, for sure. I mean? And then it kind of, it's crazy because, like I love training with firearms and shooting and hunting and doing all the things. And so it's like I've always had a lot of my family's military. I've always had an affinity for it. Actually, I had a period of time where I went to Army recruitment office and tried to enlist, and I already had too many tattoos at the time. So they were like, no. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll go back to tattooing. And so it's kind of funny. I've always had such a respect and admiration for the military. I mean, my cousin's a lieutenant colonel of the Army. Like,
nice.
My grandpa fought in Korea. Like, it's been always around my life to where
too.
All my friends seem like they're all either active duty or veterans. Like my closest friends were one's a sniper in the Army, and it's just like I've always been in that realm of humans. And so it's funny, like I've even because the way the economy's been, I'm staying busy and I'm doing things, but I'm at a certain point you want more out of your life for your family. Like I don't want to just be able to pay the bills and be able to have fun here and there. Like I want to be able to save money and buy a house and do certain things that like currently tattooing, it's going through. Talk to any tattooer, they're going to tell you if they're honest with you. It's going through a thing where there's so many tattooers. The economy's hurting where it's at. It's soaking up all the people's extra fund money. So there's that. I'm able to pay the bills, but I want more out of my life. So I'm actually going to start dabbling into something different paired with tattooing. Yeah. Not taking away from tattooing at all.
Are you gonna make shirts?
But I've got a couple different leads where I maybe end up getting into some sort of private security type of thing on the side, either with my buddy who's part of HSI, Homeland Security, or a private contractor business. Just because I've always been called to do stuff like that. I've worked security at previous things, so I'm like, it's something I could do that would fulfill a need to be of service and provide another avenue.
It's something you like.
For currency. It's something I like. It puts a little more money for the future for my family, because I just ultimately I don't want my wife to keep working. She works for the San Bernardino County right now. She actually does casework, so she's dealing with the EBT stuff. She's dealing with the cash aid, all the stuff that's happening right now. So I'm hearing from the front lines of what's happens with the fraud, and they're hiring all this new security because they're fearful that people are going to show up to her office in Rancho and possibly be violent. So I'm like nervous wreck about that.
Yeah.
So I ultimately there's nothing more that I think my wife would want than to be back to a stay-at-home mom, picking up the girls from school, loving on them, raising the boy, doing all that. And so I really want to facilitate that for her. I'm not old school in the way that I'm like, oh, you should stay at home. But I know wholeheartedly that's what my wife would love, and ultimately that would be the absolute best life for all my kids.
For sure.
So
1,000%.
if I've got to take on another load, bro, I'll work at a warehouse at night. I don't care. I'll do whatever I got to do to make a little extra ends meet to where we ain't got nothing to worry about, you know?
Yeah, I saw you asking for
and that's why.
Work. Yeah,
that's just to facilitate bigger goals.
I think
than just paying the bills and
good dads, good men, good husbands.
Yeah.
I think
that's an ego hit though, for sure.
We'll be
to put that out there and think that something you've devoted your whole life to. At first I was like, I don't want to. But then I'm like, man, I want more for my kids. I want them to be able to do this and
That's
do that.
that's
and not have to
that's
worry
an honorable
about.
thing.
Yeah, and so I just was like, you know what? I can put my pride aside and like it means nothing. Like I'm still busy tattooing, as busy as the next guy.
Right.
But I'm willing to do more work to. I just don't want to just get by, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think my kids deserve more than that. My wife deserves more than that. So I'm willing to do a lot of different things to make that happen. You know.
A lot of facets to Derek,
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny too. You say that, but like I feel like as the years go on with tattooing, man, I'm like I say it all the time. I'm like, I'm probably the most normal square dude you've ever met that tattoos. You know what I mean? Like Kevin, my buddy at the shop that I have with, we'll chat and just like we have some wild clients, of course, and we'll hear some stories. And I'm like, man, bro, I'm in bed by 8:30 or 9. I get home, help the baby get ready for bed. My wife gets up at 4:30 to make the girls lunch for school and do all this stuff. So I get up and, help around the house. And we're just very much just love being with our family and building those memories. Like, it's pretty funny. But my kid, my boy, he loves watching the Shrek movies right now. So we went to the Halloween store to find costumes. And we see the little Shrek costume. We're like, oh, that's super cute. Like, let's have little dude be Shrek. He's not old enough to where he can really tell us. So my wife said, yeah, that's a good one. All right, cool. She's like, all right, now what are we going to be? And so immediately, I'm Lord Farquaad. So I dressed up on Friday as Lord Farquaad.
There you go.
And my little dude was Shrek. So I'm just all about trying to build memories for those kids and, like, let them know, like, dude, your daddy loves you. And, like, I'll do anything I can for you. So
when somebody runs into you at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, they go right up to you and say, what's up?
Yeah. They do. Actually, if they know me, they for sure do.
No, I know.
Because that's the personality I've always had. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I find it weird to not be that way.
Yeah.
I'm very much like,
they're probably like, what does this guy want from me?
I'm that dude. I hold the door open. I say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Like, the Oklahoma values are, the South values are very much how I was raised.
Yeah.
So I'm very polite in that way. And so it's funny because people see me, they think, like, I won't be, but then I'm like, oh yeah, if I remember, like, I'll typically remember something. I'll be, oh yeah, how's so and so or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, how'd the tattoo heal, whatever. But yeah, just being a human, man. Like, I feel like some people try to have this facade that they're like too cool or because they're with their family. Like, oh hey, how's it going? Like, I'll still talk to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just be a normal person.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. This has been fun.
I think it's so funny. That's what I was telling you before the show. Like, sometimes I don't write no notes.
Yeah.
I don't put nothing down. I let it go where it go. When you came, I was like, oh, we'll probably talk tattooing. We'll probably talk art.
Yeah.
And it goes so different than what I anticipate. And I love that because it's more organic that way.
Yeah, no, it feels natural. I've done a few other podcasts before, and they've all seemed to be the same way, and it feels normal. Like, I'm not a glitz and glam kind of guy. Like, you don't see me on the internet talking and stuff. That's not really my gig. Like, I'm ultimately I am pretty quiet on a normal level, but yeah, it feels better and not so nerve-wracking to be just having a conversation because it is what it is.
And then we don't have to agree on everything, right?
No, and that's as humans, like,
yeah,
how's that? Like, that's normal. That's how you learn and grow. And like, maybe I'll question or challenge this element of something, and I'll think about it later. And that's important, man. Like, that on all levels. That
I think it's 100%.
I think the human element has been removed via social media, with people just like can throw stones and then immediately get off, and like there's no repercussions from what they said, or vice versa. It's like no disagreements or no. You're not gonna come to some agreement on a hasty Instagram.
I've lost a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Through that, and unable, and I begged them to say, hey, we don't agree on everything, but dude, I don't want to lose your friendship. We have a lot of great memories.
Right.
Together. We're great. Other than this little.
You've had a decent amount that you've lost.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Good friends that were just we don't agree on whatever it may be. It can be politics, the rioting, BLM, or whatever it may be. It's just
all political type things in a way. Yeah.
Stuff that I would, not biblical stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where you can say, like,
worldly things. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like stuff like that. Okay, I can look past that, dude. Like,
it's
fine. Like, you don't agree all the way in that way. That's all right. I agree but this is simply friends.
For
like,
sure.
If we don't talk about it, and we move on from it, then we're we're pretty good.
Well, in a normal landscape,
Yeah.
those wouldn't even be topics that would ever present themselves.
But because of social media, because of politics, because of news, all this driving stuff, it's just
that's what gets clicks is the chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a great book if you're. Do you read?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Book called A Chaos Machine.
I'll check it out.
It's pretty gnarly. It's I'll send you some recommendations. I love reading.
Okay.
Kind of out of the loop with it just because I don't have as much time as I used to commute to Orange County all the way back to Rancho, so I would either do like an audio book or I would read after the gym. That was my favorite time. But with our current schedule, I don't have time for the gym, so I'm like,
I always have to find that special. Usually in the morning, I have to.
Yeah, I can find it for myself.
If it's in the evening, I'm not an evening reader.
No, I'll go to sleep.
I'll be dozing.
Yeah, for sure. I can find the time to go to the gym, but there's 0 hours right now currently for my wife. So I can't be selfish and do my own thing.
Baby, man.
Yeah, so we're gonna figure that out in the future, and then I'll be back to read.
It's just one of those seasons
for sure,
for a little bit.
Yeah, totally. It's totally worth it. So it is what it is.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
We do one last thing here at the Street Gospel.
Yeah.
It's called the Furious Five, man. And we ask you 5 furious questions. We have a good time with it. Nothing too crazy. You ready?
Yeah.
Question number 1 for Derek Billingsley on the Street Gospel Furious 5. If you weren't a tattoo artist, what would you have loved to become?
Probably something within the military, private contractor, or even just a career military. I've always liked.
Imagine yourself with no tattoos, at least viewable tattoos.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, something within the military. Probably.
I know. I always tell everybody that's one thing I wish I would have done.
Yeah.
Whether it was, a few years or whatever. Yeah. I think my dad tested me because he was in the Army.
Okay.
And he goes, you want somebody yelling at you all day? And I was like, no. He goes, then don't go. And that was it. And I was thinking in my head, like, was that years later I thought about that. Was that like a little challenge? Like, if I would have said, yeah, that's fine, I can take it. And then he would have said, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Because I said no, he's probably like, all right, then whatever, dude.
Yeah.
I know. I wish there's a lot of pluses being a veteran and so I wish I would have did that.
And I just feel like it's like a honorable thing to do to serve your country. You know? I almost think like that would be a beneficial thing to have some sort of level of requirement that everyone serves this country in some form or capacity. I think
a lot of countries do that.
We would view geopolitics and the landscape of the world a lot differently if you might be involved in it.
I think that helped shape my dad. He was a neighborhood guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he traveled around the world, spent time in Germany and just saw different things as a young guy. And I think it opened up his mind. He came back and still was wild, but I think it really opened up his mind about, he was always really pro-American, really, had a worldlier view on the world, Question number 2 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. Your worst tattoo you ever did on somebody? You don't have to name names either.
I could think of, okay, so back to what I was telling you earlier. I did a tattoo on this dude, Thomas. I'll say his name, I don't care. I was in, what was I in
Shout
high school?
out Thomas.
Yeah, I was in high school. I did not, like I said earlier, I didn't know how to draw where you're supposed to start out with a lighter colored Sharpie and build up the drawing to figure out shapes and create the image. So I took black Sharpie, and he wanted, back in the day, you remember that acronym Dilligaf?
Yeah.
He wanted that the whole side of his calf, bro. And I went in straight. I didn't know anything. I just went in with a straight mag and tried to fill it in as I went. Dude, I could only imagine what this thing looks like. I did like 20, and I was like, all right, let me hold it, hang this up, and let me get an apprenticeship, and then tattooed years later. But yeah, it was terrible.
Oh.
I could only imagine. Hopefully you got a laser to cover it or something. It was awful.
Question number 3 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. One thing you would change about your life?
Man, I don't honestly, like, I'm sure it's cliche. I don't think I'll change anything, man. Every bad thing that's happened in my life, I'm so grateful for because it's changed me in one way or another. Either, I mean, like I said, I don't drink, I don't do anything because of the childhood I grew up with, and my whole goal is to be an amazing dad because I feel like I lack that. So
right on.
Yeah, it's all made me who I am.
Question number 4 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. Ever since you became a Christian, the biggest difference between old Derek and new Derek?
How I respond to things. I think old me, I think I would lash out and definitely, I mean, I grew up in a violent household in a violent way, and now I definitely I think I would hope that people can see that I walk with the light and that I feel different. Whether I proclaim Jesus or not, I would hope that I have a light about me, as a Christian.
Question number 5. If we go to Oklahoma and we get some food, where are you taking me, bro?
Well, probably the first spot would be this place called Cattleman's. It's on an actual cattle ranch, and they'll literally have the cows out back.
Let's go.
And it's a steakhouse. It's been there forever. It's the spot that all the birthdays go to, or the Christmas. Cattleman's is probably number 1 in Oklahoma City.
Dope.
Yeah, it's good.
Dope. I appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man.
I think there's one thing that we can do together. We can suffer for the Raiders together, bro.
Yeah, that's inevitable.
I mean, you got to be a Christian to be a Raider fan, dude. It's just, you need God.
Yeah, counterbalance it every week, right?
God to help you, man. It sucks so bad because you go to church and you feel good, and then you get out and it's a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah.
And whatever, sorry, Pastor Adam, whatever great sermon your pastor preached kind of goes out the window when the Raiders lose.
I feel like I'm a professional loser at this point. I could just handle it with ease. My
like,
wife's like, oh, she thinks I'm going to be all gnarly, and I'm like, oh, it's all good.
Yeah, no more.
I'm good. Expectations are low.
Yeah,
we're doing good, girl. At least we look cool, right?
We look cool. Hey,
I always tell that.
I always tell everybody, you cannot beat our uniforms. They're the best.
Number 1 selling merch in the world.
They're the best, dude. So I still rock my Raiders hats. I mean, it just...
That's about the only hats I have.
Yeah. I mean, it just...
You got a Raider tat? You got a Raider tattoo?
I don't. Maybe you got to give me one.
Yeah, you got to get one,
dude. You know what I mean? I got to get one.
Yeah, my neighbor at the shop, I just did a big one on his shin pretty recently because he was the same thing.
One day, maybe you'll tattoo the greatest Raider right now.
Crosby?
Max.
That'd be sick.
That'd be sick.
I'd be stoked on that. I'm not really a celebrity chaser tattooer,
No,
but
I
I've
know.
tattooed a handful of them for sure.
That'd be sick.
So that would be sick. That one I would probably be like, all right, this is sick.
Where can people find you at, bro?
I have a shop in Montclair. It's called In Good Faith Tattoo. It's a private studio. And then my Instagram is just Real Derek Billingsley. It's on Instagram.
Cool, man.
That's it.
Right on, brother. Thanks for coming
All right,
out.
man. Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate
Nice
you too.
meeting you, man.
That'll conclude this episode of the Street Gospel Podcast with Derek Billingsley. Make sure you get out there, support his tattoo shop. Go check out his art. Go get a traditional tattoo from a traditional guy. How about that?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That'll be dope.
Yeah.
And if you got any side work, hey, man, this guy's pretty big. He could be your security guard or something, whatever you need. We love you guys. We out. Peace.
Peace.